Hey guys, so today we are taking a look at the brand new Monkey D. Luffy Mono Black ST14 3 days 2 year leader. We were able to go undefeated with this deck profile, so we'll be taking a look to see if I'm able to finally finish off my collection, collecting one of each of the winner card, or if there's another Beppel waiting for us. But in this deck profile, I'll go over each of the cards, also giving you guys some tips on how to navigate this brand new deck and style of play, and also just talking about each of the metas that you may run into. But we'll start off by opening up this winner card. We are hoping for I guess a Momo, I believe, is the fourth card that we're looking for. We did receive 2 Beppels. I was able to trade one out for Soraya, and then I forget, I think it was Law was the other one, which was on the cover here. But let's get this open up right away, since you guys probably will see what this was on the thumbnail. And we actually picked up another winner Law, so I am going to have to try and search for a Momo, or perhaps win another winning card and try to finish off that collection. But looks like I'll have an extra Law for my collection and trade binder, so we'll put that there, and then we'll go ahead and head into this deck profile. So this brand new leader is attach Dawn. If you attach Dawn, then all your characters on board ends up getting 1 cost. If you have an 8 cost or higher, this character gains 1000 power, making him at 6k. This does persist for your opponent's turn also, but just remember, if your opponent is able to clear out your 8 costs, that this will return back to 5000 power. But that is the new leader, the Monkey D. Luffy Mono Black. So we'll take a look at this deck profile now. We start off with 4 of the 1000 Sunnies. This is a great card. You definitely do want this, find this in your opening hand, because once you do play it at that 1 cost, you increase all your Straw Hats on field up 1 more cost, and also you will get to draw a card. So even if you draw all 4 of these, you can just pitch them for different events, and or just play it for 1 Dawn and just draw a free card. So very, very powerful. Looks like most of the black style deck engine always has a certain stage. I know Rob Lucci has lost his, but for this Mono Black Luffy, he does find that 1000 Sunny. It's not necessary to win, but it definitely makes it a lot easier. But we do run a 4 of the 1000 Sunnies. We also run 4 of I Have My Crew. I Have My Crew is a 1 cost card. It allows you to draw 1 card, and then also increase the cost of any character on your field by 3. So another great card to kind of push this a character above 8, and then allow you to run a different effect on some of your cards that you will be playing in this deck profile also. But I Have a Crew, great for opening hand. If you didn't find that Sunny, obviously you're gonna mulligan for that Sunny, but if you have a crew card too, it is great to use that 3 cost. But a lot of times you're gonna probably be using it to try to draw and find some extra cards or extra counter. It also has a trigger that will KO one of your opponent's characters with a 3 cost or less, so it could be great to limit the attacking swings into your face, and or just remove a blocker or another 3 costs that your opponent may have on field. Next up, we run 4 of these. Here it is. He is a 1 cost 0 attacker. He is a 2k. He will be used for 2k for a lot of times. This deck does run very few 2ks, so you will need him for sure. For this one, if you end up resting this character, you're able to boost up one of your Straw Hat character up by 2 costs, and then also if you have a 8 cost on field, you are able to draw 1 trash one. So great tech to hit that extra boost, pushing characters over 6, or just allowing to protect some of your lower cost characters from like a Rob Lucci early on. You might be able to pop this onto another character, and then your opponent for like Gecko or Rob Lucci won't be able to just remove your other costs easily. So also consider that when you're playing into a black navy style deck. But we do run a 4 of the Nami, which is also from the ST14, the new starter deck. She is a blocker, and if you have 8 costs on field or more, she draws a card. So another strong draw card. This is one of the few lower blockers that you have in this deck profile. There's a couple more that we'll go over, but she is a 3 cost, 2000 power, 1k counter. Another great staple in this deck. A lot of the ST14 cards you do run in this just because it synergizes very well with the new Luffy leader, obviously. The next card we run of is a 2 of, which is a 3 cost 4k Usopp. When attaching Dawn and when attacking, if this character with an 8 or cost or more, you're able to K up to one of your opponent's 4 costs or less. So a great way to kind of clean out the low cost characters on your opponent's field. A great card for the Nami matchup, also just because you're able to KO those Kayas and blockers and just all the crazy stuff that Nami does to send cards back into your hand. If you are able to get this to stick early, it's a great way to remove blockers in different matches up. Also, we do only run a 2 of. It's very situational, so if at worst you'll use it as a 1k. Once your opponent kind of sees this dropping down, they'll most likely ask you to read it, and once they read it, they're gonna find a way to remove it really quickly. So a great card as a tech card, only a 2 of because it's very situational. A lot of time you will just use it as a counter or a pitch card though. So the next card we are running, which isn't a part of the ST14, is the Sabo, the blocker Sabo, which is probably the strongest card in black. Allows you to draw 2, discard 2, a great way to cycle. A 5 cost, 6000 power, and 1k counter card. Staple of all decks. We only run a 2 of. Great way to protect your field when you're heading into that higher mid-range Dawn and higher range Dawn. Save you from like geckos, Rob Lucci's and other effects that will KO your characters by effect. So we do run a 2 of that. Most players who are playing that Lucci or playing Gecko knows how powerful this card is. You only need 2 of them though, because they are getting pretty expensive, but there are other cards in there also. But 2 Sabos. The next thing we are running is going to be our Barcelino. Sorry, we just run a 2 of that. He is also a blocker, 4 cost, 5k. He can't be removed, or sorry, he can't be KO'd by effects. So he sticks very well. You always will just drop him and kind of swing him every time, just because if your opponent can remove him or KO him, you can protect him. He also gains 1k power when you do have him in your defensive stage. So we run a 2 of the Borsalino. Great for pretty much all the matchup, just because he can't be KO'd by effects. But a 2 of that. For more tech cards, we do use the Kuzan. This is one of a few cost reduction type of cards that you can use as an offensive card. He also allows you to draw 1 on play, a 4 cost, 5000 power. No 1k counter, but he's essentially just a draw and then a bait. Your opponent will always try to remove this pretty quickly, just because when attacking, he's able to do that -4 cost reduction, which pairs well with more tech cards in this deck. The next card we are running, we are back to some ST14 cards, the new Sanji. If you have a 6 cost or more, you're able to KO a 5 costs or less on your opponent's field. With the Monkey D Luffy attaching 1 Dawn, that automatically increased Sanji up to 6, allowing you to KO your opponent's 5 costs or less. Pair that with like Kuzan or some more of the cost reductions that are coming up in this deck. You'll be able to remove those big bodies pretty quick, pairing it with Sanji. So another great card that you do need to run a 4 of. The next card that we run in this deck is a 2 of Frankie. Frankie is a pretty strong card also, but once again, your opponent's going to remove this one pretty quickly. Once they do see it, they would like to read it. If you can attach that Dawn early onto him, he does become an 8k power, extra 2k for when you're attaching Dawn to him, and then if you have a 6 cost or more, he can't be KO'd by your opponent's effect. So a card that sticks really well, if you are able to drop this like on your 6 or 7 Dawn, that's probably ideally what you want to do, just because he will stick very well, and he's an 8k defensive body, and he swings for 6, so it will definitely mill some cards out. Frankie's a very strong card, but once again, more of a situational card that we only use 2 of for tech, and then also he's a 1k counter. The next card that is very strong from the new starter deck is also the Nico Robin. So on play, if you have an 8 cost or higher on field, she will then be able to put -5 on one of your opponent's characters, and then also keep doing this as she attacks. So when attacking, 1k counter, 6 cost, 7k swinger, very strong. We do run a 4 of her. Once again, you can start seeing this deck building that cost reduction, using that offensive attack too, not just for defense, but you can see we run a 4 of that, pairing this with a Sanji. Next turn, you establish a Robin, you attach Dawn to Luffy, making him a 6k swinger with the stage because she's an 8 cost. Then next turn, you can swing her minus out, and then pop Sanji, killing like a Gecko, a Zoro, a Kid. Any big bodies really will get destroyed. Your opponent will generally remove this pretty quickly. Pretty much anything that's you throw down, their opponent needs to kind of clear out just because of how strong it is. So that's the next card we run is the Ijo. So he's a staple in most of the Lucci matchups and Gecko matchups in the current meta. We run a 2 of. When you play him, if your opponent has 6 cards or more, we get to rip 2 random cards out of their hand, and then if you attach Dawn, he gives an aura that minuses out 3 to all your opponent's characters. So once again, pairing this with next turn Sanji, or maybe even Usopp, or a few other tech cards that are coming up, it's a great way just to clear your opponent's board and get that board advantage, and also perhaps getting that card and hand advantage too, because you're able to just rip 2 cards out of their hand there. But we run a 2 of that there. The next big body that we're using is going to be the OP07 Sabo. He is an 8 cost, 9,000 power. On play, you may trash 1 card from hand and then KO a 5 cost or less, and a 3 cost or less. So with Izo, with with Robin, with Kuzan, another great way to clear your opponent's big bodies super easy, because all you have to do is reduce them to 5. This is once again a great card to play to establish that big body, or even just dropping the Sanji before then. You're just constantly removing board and getting that field advantage. But we run 3 Sabos. The next one, if you have checked out the starter deck versus starter deck, you'll see it's the Rush Luffy. We run 2 of. He's an 8 cost, 10,000 power. If you have a 10 cost on field, he gains Rush. So that means if we attach Dawn to our leader, and then also have the Sunny, or use maybe Herodis to boost him up after. So if you got unlucky and couldn't get stage, you could also just play this, attach Dawn to Luffy, and then play your Herodis to boost him to 10 to then get a rush off of him. But we run a 2 of the Monkey D Luffy. Your opponent will probably not see this coming because this deck is so new. So later in the season, they will know that this is in there, but because we are running a brand new deck profile, a lot of time there's a lot of tech that your opponent won't know, and it will give you that slight edge. But definitely a cool card. 8 cost, very easy to drop down, very easy to get that free rush and end the game when your opponent doesn't expect such a big rush, big body that can swing right away. But 2 of that. The next card we're running is for Surus. She's a 2k counter, one of the best 2k counters in the navy and black style engine. A 1 cost, 0 attacker. You use her a lot of time as a 2k counter, but that -2 does come in clutch. Just being able to drop some characters down to under 5, so you can use Sanji or Sabo, or dropping a 5 cost out of 3, so then you can pair that with like the Robin swing, the Kuzan swing, to drop to get that 5/3, and then just drop that Sabo with it and just clear more board, and just gaining that board advantage once again. I'm generally more of a blurple style play, or like a purple, more green Bonnie and Uta, so this is pretty different for my play style. So I am having a lot of fun with it. But we do run 2 Ice Ages. 2 Ice Ages once again is another tech card, just allowing you -5, just so you can pair it into the Sabo, just so you can use it with that Sanji. And then also it has a trigger which can KO up to a 3 less. It can come in very useful when your opponent is kind of swinging out and you're just kind of able to blow up one of their blockers, or maybe blow up one of their other characters that they were considering to swing to try and go for fatal. But we do run a 2 of the Ice Age. The final card that we run in this deck is going to be a 3 of the longest card name in the game, the Gum Gum Diablo 3-star style Mountain Jet 600-pound Phoenix Cannon. It's a 2 cost. You can use it on main to boost one of your characters or leader by 3000 power, and if you have a character with 8 costs or higher, you are able to KO one of your opponent's 2 costs. So once again, it could be where you're popping a couple of these Surus to drop the big body down to like a 2k, and then pop this onto your leader so you get that extra 3000 swing, and then just KO a 2 or less. A lot of combinations that you can kind of put through to use this, and also a very powerful trigger where it allows you to KO a 5 cost or less if you have an 8 cost or more. So near that end game where you're kind of keeping life, this could be a clutch trigger that will stop that extra onslaught onto you, save you some counter, and then hopefully go for fatal the next turn around. But we do run a 3 of that. That is your deck profile for this undefeated week 1 deck profile, I guess. The next thing I guess we can go through is kind of what combinations you kind of want to build. On an opening hand, you're always going to want to try to mulligan for a Sunny. If you have a Sunny, you're probably just going to keep it, just because you're able to just gain that draw also, and hopefully cycle in more useful cards. I Have a Crew is another great card to have as an opening hand, just because you are able to gain that draw, and then also increase the attack costs on different cards to allow you to protect it from a Lucci or some removal from like a Gecko or a Rob Lucci deck. Other cards that you probably would like to see also would be this Herodis. Just increasing that 2 cost once again is very strong, and then he's also a 2k that you'll end up cycling for. But great card. You'll see some Namis you can draw. If you can pair it with any of these top cards here that you can open with, it's going to be very, very powerful. This Usopp, if you can put him early down also, where your opponent can't really remove him, he's going to put in some work for you for sure. Just attach that Dawn and start swinging, KOing some of your opponents, just dropping him mid game and whatnot. And then the next strongest card that you want to see in your opening hand is the Sanji. It just allows you to drop a big body, mid body that just clears out your opponent's board also. Another thing to consider is you can also use like your Phoenix cards here. to just get that extra attack power in, and then just KO the 2 costs or less. You probably won't get too many 8 costs early on, so this is definitely a mid-game tech with your different Ice Ages and Suru, so consider that also a great way to kind of clear out. And then obviously your Sabos is going to protect your board. It's like your hand. Borsolino, just place them down and swing them every time. The harder decks that we ran into was the red purple law. If he hits his high rolls and just kid killering you and zerging you down, you're probably just gonna lose. But I guess the only good thing about red purple law now is you're not gonna have to worry about it within the next couple weeks, just because he is getting deleted and he is becoming banned. But other matchup that can be a little more difficult would be that Bonnie, the Hody Jones, is very hard to deal with. But other than that, with Izzo, with your Ice Age and cost reduction, with your Sabos being able to kind of remove the Kid card, the Zord card pretty easy. You can remove those bodies pretty easy, and then establish also. It's not too difficult, but I believe Bonnie does have that slight edge. Facing Black Yellow Luffy, facing and Nell can be a bit more difficult. You generally will just starve them out, build a wide board, and then start swinging, and then just keep clearing their board and try and remove some of their counters by swinging into characters that they do end up swinging at you. Just kind of starve them and just leave them at 2 costs, so they can't get that heal off of their Katakuri or Anels and whatnot. So just starve them. So Reiju was another matchup that we ran into that could be pretty difficult, but you still go for that starve tactic where you're able to just build that board, keep clearing out their board, and then once you're able to establish and just get that rush Luffy down, get that Sabo down, it's just very difficult for them to deal with those big bodies once you do get that position. Same with the red purple law. If they didn't high roll all your stuff, and then if you didn't feed them the different tech cards they need from their life, you will just be able to overwhelm them with the rush Luffys, the Sabos, and the Ishos, just ripping cards out of their hand. What other matchups are currently? The Black Lucci was another matchup that we ran into the Undefeated. We did run this deck into 2 different locals. The first local I did go X1 with it. The second local I did end up losing to a Lucci in that first one, and then in the second locals that we went to, we actually had our Undefeated rematch with that Lucci, and we didn't brick, and we were able to really put a lot of pressure on that Lucci, so we did end up winning. So we what else is there in the meadows? Lucci Gecko is just very hard for them to remove your stuff. You can use Herodis to boost up your different characters just so they can't Lucci you easily. You have to use a lot more tech card. Without stage, it's very hard for Lucci to really punish you, just because this is almost like an anti-black navy deck profile, just because you're able to boost everything. With Luffy attached on with the Sunny, that's just an aura for 2 for all your Shaw hats and everything. And then where is it? It is the I Have a Crew. Just use it early on to protect your Robins, protect your Sanjis, just to protect those high costs, so they can't just easily Lucci them out or spend them out. So not spend them. There's another removal I don't remember. Like I said, I don't really play the Lucci and the Gecko, but we do face them. I just don't always remember all the tech for it. What's in our hard matchups? It's definitely gonna be Blue Dofi. Blue Doffy is probably the hardest matchup because even with the high cost, it doesn't really help. The gravity blade, you can kind of counter with this by popping it above 7 so they can't get gravity blade. But unfortunately, if they do find their 2 to 3 red rocks, all these guys instantly get deleted to the bottom deck. So if they do hit all their curve, if they do find their flood with their gym bays and stuff, it's just going to be very hard to deal with. So not Blurple, but Blue Doffy, definitely the hardest matchup for you. Can you win that? Yes, you can, but it is going to be an uphill battle, hoping they don't hit all their removals. Blue Boa isn't too bad just because there isn't that flood. She can be annoying with the same tech as the Blue Doffy, but because without that flood, because with the sables that you can kind of play, the board does stay pretty clean, so you are able to kind of drain out their card and have that card advantage and end up getting a big board advantage in that late game also. If I missed any metas that we haven't talked about, definitely let me know in the comments. I did sim quite a bit onto this also, since I am considering if I want to run this deck into the treasure cups in this weekend. There's a good chance I will, or I might just go back to my Bonnie, since I do have way more practice with her and a lot more experience with her, just doing the different events that has passed over the last month there. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know if you do want to see more of these deck profiles tested in the locals, and if you want to see some sim games or see some live games, I can definitely talk some of my pals out locals and we can do some more filming. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the support. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.